It is 4 o'clock, isn't it? Oh, yeah. 4 o'clock shadow. You know you want it. Warning, warning, danger, real wild. Let's try that again. Take two. Warning, danger. Warning, danger? No. Warning, danger, danger, Will Robertson. Warning, danger, danger. Will Robertson. Will Robertson is the part that really is the tongue twister, Say that 10 times real quick. I dare you. Just out of the shower a little bit ago. I mean, very little bit ago. Woke up about 13 minutes till. The showing's like, ooh, finally got a shower. I stinketh when I got home. I was sweaty. I'm sore, went to bed about 1:30-ish, 1:45, somewhere in there. Hit that bed and out, finished season 3 of The Expanse, came home and just kind of cooled off, chilled out, and ate something. What did I fix? I actually brought home had some ham and a chicken breast. So a very small chicken breast. We're talking very small chicken breast meat and a couple, sizable pieces of ham. I had some food that I'd left in the company freezer. I picked it up for Mom. There were some carrots in there for Abby or me. I mean, I could eat them too, but I usually dice them up with my cooking shears and put them in her meal. And I had that in the freezer, and she's like, yeah, somebody left that meat up there. I had some bacon with sausage, and which was good because we were there over 3 hours, just a little bit over 3 hours. And I had given Abby a meal, I think, late, early, but I had those link sausages, and she hasn't had the link sausages in a while. And because they haven't been getting them. Well, that had like 3 or 4 of them in there. So, I would go in there and give her some and whatnot. Hey, Elsie, link. Yes, I'll send you the link here in a moment. And hey, buddy, just got home. Be there in 5 minutes. Okay. The link is in the chat right here. Hopefully, it won't be too far up. If so, I'll just drop it again. had to check the mail. Finish my copy, of course. Let Abby out and let her back in. So I apologize for being a few few minutes late myself. But I've been last day at work and been kicking my ass. Just to put it indelicately, very indelicately, crude, you might say. But work season's over. Woohoo! Total, I got in a little over 13 hours, I think, this week. That's not going to break the bank. Late and gay. No, that's over on your show. We are never gay around here. I am president of the Gay Human Haters Society. You know, I was part of that Charlie Brown. I was all in for that He-Man Woman Haters Society. You know, president of that for many years. And you know, as I got older, it's like, yeah, let's include the gays. Now, I don't hate on gays if they don't hate on me, and if they don't smang on me, I really won't hate on them. You know, I'm about as straight laced as you can get, and always will be. Haven't done any more on this character, brand new character. Don't have a name for him yet, but uh, he's basically an energy character that has is surrounded by a cloak that inhabits a cloak. Uh, Cloak Killer. Yeah, I think I've got that down somewhere. I did finish Silver Boa there. A little dark there, but you don't know what kind of lighting he is and realm and whatnot. That's a little bit different. Didn't use the gel pen this time. Used gray markers actually. Uh, Other than that, you know, yeah, I like that. And this character is going to be one of the 43. I'm excited about that. All right, LZ, I'm in the process of getting you the link. Today is Feature Friday, and we are going to look at some Joe Kubert. We'll start out with some coloring that he did in 1940. How cool is that for the Spirit? Who knew that that was a thing? You could make it female character if you say you wanted more female villains. Yes, Carrie, you're very astute. If you need a definition for astute, I'll wait till Shadowhawk gets in here. No, you're very. That's what I think I said that on an earlier stream. That yeah, I mean, since there's no embodiment to the character, it could be female. Absolutely, you know. Uh, and speaking of female villains, K-pop junkie in the house. Hello. So we've got double the female representation in here already. Yeah, I really thought about making her female, and then I thought, maybe not, because the cloak is like uh reminiscent of the seer, which is female. But then I shouldn't let that. You know, I do need female characters. You are correct, Carrie. So I'm like, yeah, maybe, and that could be like her doppelganger in a way, you know, uh, because if you need a villain, and that's been one of my solution. My solution was the 43, and it's working out fabulously. I've created more characters and wrote in some old characters, some characters that could have stood on their own, and then other characters that might need a little help, you know, because the designs aren't earth shattering, you know. Uh, I am pro evil babes. Amen. Amen. Oh man, K-pop, I mean, look, I've got psychotic Nazi babes. I've got psychotic Nazi men, you know, and they can appear anytime I need them to. I think it's a genius thing. I don't think I reinvented the wheel, but it works for me. You know, I roll all these characters into one origin, the super soldier experiment of World War II. Out of desperation, they're trying to create that Ubermensch, that Superman and Superwoman, that perfect German, and they're kind of get their wires crossed along with the actual conspiracy type Nazi stuff with the Bale, the Nazi Bale that's supposed to be sort of time travel perhaps experiment, and they get that in, and it's really a transporter accident. 200, and they're being treated individually. That's why they come out with different powers. They're receiving separate injections, separate things. Some work, some things work, most of them don't. Uh, there are out of 200 of them, only 43 survive, and yeah, why not make it? And in fact, I'll make an executive decision right now because Carrie's on the same road as the same mindset as me. This character will be female. I mean, it's kind of erogenous. Uh, what's the word? Is it erogenous?
Erroneous?
No, not erroneous. It's like if you don't know the sex, it's kind of like it could go either way. Kind of like the devil figure in the Passion. They shaped
Andro- and,
made it
androgynous.
androgynous. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, and don't call me Ann or Shirley. Anyway,
Or androgynous.
let's get on to the
And
important stuff.
Halo.
I scored some milk
Cherry
chocolate
Big
minis,
Pop. Walden.
M&M minis today.
Ooh. Yeah, those are
That
good.
that was in the and if you've never seen them, here they are. A good excuse to take a handful, right? Look at that, look at these little darlings, and that, you know,
Yeah,
I
like
mean,
tasty, those buggers.
they'd be small, you know. Um, ain't all females villains? Yeah, yeah, in some circles. All dope villains have a hoodie or a cloak. Yeah, look at Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Tried to mute myself, it wouldn't mute. Um,
So did I wake you up, Rex?
no. Did you try and call me?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I tried calling you. You probably didn't hear your phone because it's probably sitting
I
right next to your computer instead
No,
of
it
where it
was
should be.
downstairs. Yeah, it was
No.
downstairs. Um, no, I woke up about 13 minutes to till grubby. Um, I'd put all the trade paperbacks, most of them on the stairs, so I couldn't even get upstairs. So I had to get all those put up before I could go upstairs. I lay down in the bed about an hour and a half. About 1:30 ish, 1:40, something. It might have been closer to 2 actually. And woke up about I think it probably was closer to 2. And so I conked out. It's for uh almost 2 hours, not quite. Um Grubby or grumpy? Maybe a little both, K-pop. Yes, we do. We do have K-pop junkie in the house. We have LZ, who's waiting very patiently for the link. Art of J.
It's in the
Ryan
chat.
in the house, and Carrie is in the house, and Omer
Hom-
Glitch.
Homer dropped the link for
Omar.
Thousand, so he should be able to come in.
No, doesn't work that way with him. He can't come in on the chat. You desire to
Well,
come in on the chat. He does not. I've just been blathering on about my day, which I want to before I do, Joe Kubert. That was one of the things that I did not get done, which was send the link to you, to LZ and Dr. Mask and whatnot. But now you didn't read very much of Legion of Superhero, did you, Shadowhawk?
off and on, but not a whole lot. No.
Your audio is doing wonderful today, by the way.
Oh, great. Good to hear.
So whatever you're doing, keep it up.
Uh, Not
Did
doing
I
anything
share
different.
with everyone that my daughter is pregnant now with another boy? That I'll be a grandfather
Oh,
here
no.
in a few months. Yeah.
Congratulations.
And Carrie, thank you again for sending me the $23 for the markers on PayPal. Appreciate it. I will be purchasing that set maybe Monday. I'm going to couple it with a little money I get from my check, and we'll see what I can do. And see what's on sale too. You know, they, like Omer said, you know, they had a larger set. I may get that besides the 80 It'd be worth the money, and those things would last a while. Um, yeah, I don't know. Did you see the finished card of Mr. Happy? I don't know if you did, Shadowhawk. Maybe it
I
wasn't.
think he showed it to. I think he showed it to us yesterday.
Okay. Well, the one that I started before that and hadn't finished coloring, Silver Boa, the original Silver Boa.
Ah, very nice.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I
it
like the
came out
background.
good. I tried gray markers instead of the gel pens, with him,
Uh,
because gray can often, pass as silver. Uh, Scorn, of course, you saw, but some people out there may not have seen the Scorn, the leader of the Scorn. I created a new character. The reason I asked you about Legion of Superhero, there was an energy alien, right? Called Wildfire that was in kind of like a containment suit, but he was all energy.
oh yeah, I remember Wildfire.
All right. Well, it came to me that, I mean, I didn't think in those terms. I'm just trying to relate what my new character I created to is closest to.
Uh,
So it makes sense if you're in an experiment that transports you in time, kind of a transporter accident that not only invigorates you with superpowers because of the different treatments you've received, right? It reacts differently with different people because I thought, okay, what's the reason they have such diversity of powers? Well, they try different things, but it's still sort of like the Vita Ray or something, right? The
right. Yeah.
infusion, the final thing where they enter a room, they turn it on, 200 go in, only 43 come out, but at different times in history. And the
Right.
Nazis abandoned the project because they just think everybody got disintegrated. And they put a
Yeah. So
lot
they
of
don't even
money into those
realize.
treatments and stuff. Huh?
Yeah. So they don't even realize that they actually succeeded.
They didn't even realize that they actually succeeded, right? Till like
Yeah.
ironically, I'm gonna have one appear probably right after the war is ended for Germany, just
Mm-hmm.
too late to help the Reich out. That's the irony of it.
Just enough to
Appear
give those Nazis a kick while they're down. Yeah. There you go.
Well, I mean, of course, they want to carry on the Third Reich. And they're appearing in different times. Like if like the Rock guy, I want him to appear sometime in the 1950s in Silver Boa, the Golden Age Silver Boa. More experienced fighting Silver Boa has to fight him, right? Uh,
Right.
and maybe the Skull Squad will get in on that. I've not talked a lot, but Sand Devil. That's kind of got Sandman powers. Got the skull for a face. He's part
Yeah.
of part of sort of a noir group called the Skull Squad, and there's 4 or 5 of them, and uh, they all have a noir type feel to them, and they all have faces that are skull related, and they're called the Skull Squad. So they might join Silver Bow in trying to defeat this superpowered Nazi that I mean, see, they still got, all right, I got superpower. Let's start whipping up on the Americans or anybody else we see that isn't German, you know. Well, Germany's been defeated in 1950, whatever, or 60 or what, 70. And, it just creates havoc, and they think the war's still going on. So,
Right. Right.
and they're psychotic, Nazis. Uh, what is that? Mosquito. Freaking mosquito. On that I must have killed. That's right here. I don't know how. It might have been those kung fu reflexes. Can you believe that? Irony. And I'm not flipping people off. Really not showing you my mosquito. I'm like, what is that?
That was his,
Is that
that
cancer?
was
What?
his,
I know I've been out in the sun more. What?
his
Um,
final act of defiance, Rex. He kamikazed on the side of your head.
yeah, maybe. Maybe he thought it was another Twin Towers. I don't know. You know,
That's it.
uh, I finished on the earlier stream Storm Rider.
Ah, very cool.
First time to color this character, by the way.
Nice.
Yeah. So breaking new ground with these cards. So a lot of these a lot of these characters, I've had a concept of what their coloring would be like, but I've never colored them. You know, I've done black and white head sketches or stuff and never have went back and colored any of them. But now this character here is going to be a female that reformed with no body, but sort of an energy Kirby Cracker. I got, sort of energy spots for a face that's undulating and moving around, and so it's a different pattern to look at all the time. And she wears this cloak, kind of just to give herself some form besides just a random energy type thing. And so that's a new character, and she's going to be one of the 43, the latest 43 character.
And hail Jay Ryan in the chat. Hello.
Who? Jinko,
and Art and Signs and Jay Ryan was here.
This kind of placeholder for Mr. Happy. He's got an online avatar, and he's like, happiness will kill you. I don't know. He's a drug pusher. He gives you the psychedelic pill. It's highly addictive, and it doesn't take but a dose or two to kill you. And the irony is it's got a smiley on the pill, and it's so addictive that one or two will kill you, kind of like fentanyl, I mean, Predator
yeah, you just never know
in the house. So
what's up, Predator 7?
We have this new one. We have part of the 43. We have Viro. And I wanted to show you Viro. If you didn't catch my earlier stream because you were at the work, I showed the piece that I worked on, and this is where I came up with the original 43. These are blanks, and here's Viro right there. There's the rock guy back there.
Oh, cool.
And you see the swastikas. Here's Euphoria. That I did a card for. Here's Blitzkrieg. Here's Bloodsword that I did one recently of. He's sort of organic metal. With this V for victory shape design.
Who's the female over there on the left, right next to that guy?
Like
the one that's
right here.
Away. Yeah.
I was thinking about her name might be the Wanderer, because I mean, she's just kind of wandering through space here.
The dude on the opposite side, is that the guy that's going to be like?
That's here.
What the hell was his name? Fire something.
Firestar?
Yeah. No, the one we were talking about from the Legion.
Oh, hell. No, it's a separate character. It's separate character. I haven't even.
Oh, okay.
He'll have to be on the second batch of cards, because I don't even have a card designated for him yet.
What was his name again? Wildfire? No.
I don't have Wildfire was the Legion of Superhero energy type character.
Right. That's what we were just
in the containment suit that had the big visor,
Yes, I remember. That's why I was asking you if that guy was him. Your version, because he kind of looks like he's got the energy stuff going on.
No, we were just talking about that. If it's just the energy, from the essence, the empowered essence.
Okay, right. You're missing it. I'm saying the picture you just held up, that guy down there in the right-hand corner, when I'm looking at it, I thought maybe that was
This
your
here,
version of.
this here.
Yes, it looks like
No,
he's in a containment suit, right?
yeah, yeah. No, no.
Okay.
This is like a cloak, like the seer, and he's not in a suit. He doesn't even have bodily form like that. It's just energy.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
It's
different.
just energy. So if you take wildfire out of the containment suit, he's
So,
just energy.
right.
And the cloak sort of gives the energy form, human form, you know.
Mm,
But no,
I
this
got
is a separate character. I haven't even. He obviously he's can propel himself. I may call him
yeah.
Proton. I don't know. He's a very futuristic looking character, you know.
Mm,
There, Elsie's coming in on the. No, I did send him the link. So there you go. There's Elsie. So just quickly going through the 43 I have created right now. There's Throwback, and he's going to be in Old Lady Midnight Story. He was the right character I needed to create. Throwback. And then there's there's Collider, which I kind of did this character as just a badass character design in one of the sketch cards, and so this is the only two times that I've drawn this character, and I just thought with this going across like this, it almost looked like something could be spinning around his top part there, around his shoulder area and upper chest area, and colliding. So that's how I came up with his name, and it had that burst right here in the original design too. See, so I thought Collider, something to do with that. So we have him in the 43. If you didn't get to see this cutie, he's not one of the 43, but Funko Bug. Uh, some lucky person will get that.
Still say you got to make some little cashies or something out of that guy.
Yeah, yeah. The Ghost, he's one of the 43. He's a new character that I'm very proud of him and his design. I think can't wait to expand on him. Um, have vision like
Cool.
powers where he can phase through things, or like Red Ghost, you know. And then there's
Mm-hmm.
pretty. She's psychotic. She's like little child of a little mind, child of a little mind of a little child. See how I invert things? Um,
Yes.
pretty. And that's what she says, like pretty. Let's preserve that. Let's kill it. Like, you know. Now,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Pin it
she's
up
got
like a
unique
butterfly.
powers. She's kind of a energy shapeshifter. She can become a giant butterfly or some pretty object, you know.
Okay.
But she's deadly. They're all deadly, you know, and they kill you in different ways. You remember in DC Comics, sort of Ethan Trevor Von Eden drew Vortex. Our Count Vortex maybe was his name. He messed with your equilibrium.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I
He's
remember
even
him.
made it into DC animation.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Child of a Little
I
Mind sounds like something you'd see in 1950 sci-fi horror movie. Yeah. Got another villain. Her name is Ugly Ugly. All of these and mine are trademark and copyrighted. Okay, I won't touch that one. I do have Ugly Pez. You know, there is Ugly Pez. I just came up with a new
I hear
character.
you.
Right, his name is Throw Forward. There you go. Obviously, Basement Man is a villain. Formless. Dig it. Yeah. Uh, Salute to Rex and Hawk. There we go.
Salute.
Catching up with the chat there. Sorry, we'll get to you here in a minute, Elsie, and we'll talk some Joe Kubert. But
no rush, bro.
This character kind of, I kind of looked at him. Well, I had him colored, and he was, and I just call him Equilibrium. He messes with your like count, your equilibrium and your balance and your, he puts you. A lot of these are going to be trippy characters. It's almost like when they use their powers, it really messes with your perception of some, but in different ways,
Right.
And then there's Blood Sword. He's kind of armored up, organic, here he is trapped under rocks. I actually took that from an Iron Man cover, I thought, well, that's a good idea. I don't have to depict the whole character, but I can still do a card of him, and it's cool. I really enjoyed doing the rocks, and I knew I had a good when I did the bog cover. And then there's Baron Steel. He's one of the 43. So I'm filling up my ranks very, and even some of my cosmic characters, coming along nicely. Euphoria, and I'm coming up with their names, which is great. I actually talked about this earlier today or yesterday. Euphoria, I'm actually going to draw a story and get into her head. She's such a neat character. I'm actually going to help myself out and start illustrating more stories, not just the bog story, but I'm going to start working out a Euphoria story. Of course, there's the rock guy. I need to get back and do him.
Right.
And then this is an older character from my scratch art days from around 2015, 16, 17, whatever, when I was doing scratch art. When I first started broadcasting, I was still doing scratch art. The very first things I went on Topicless and did was scratch art. But now I kind of rolled him into the 43. So he's in the 43. He reminds me of like Constrictor or some of those characters from the Serpent Society, his costume,
Yeah.
Right.
Siphon, he's a new character. Well, I only drew him once and never showed you him. And he's kind of like Superman's Parasite.
Right.
A lot of these.
I just like the look. I like the look of them.
A lot of these characters can suck your life essence out of you, with different results. I named Hell Rider. He's not one of the 43. He would be a good Storm Rider.
My life essence was for sure.
Hell Rider with a bike like formed out of fire, like Ghost Rider, against a lightning bike of Storm Rider. Fire versus lightning.
Ooh, okay, that's an interesting.
So he's going to be one of Storm Rider's villains. Cool. There's Dr. K. That's one of the doctors that performed a lot of. He worked with Joseph Mengele with some horrific experiments, and sort of.
You're not calling me a mad scientist. I am a happy scientist.
He's a happy. He's happy, right? If you're happy and you know it, cut your arm.
Well, somebody else's arm, really.
Yeah.
Not
so, and I'll have to look and see if Meltdown, because I kind of like that for this character here. I created him first on a pizza round, and this has been the only second time that I've drawn his face, but I think he's a cool character. He's sort of corrosive, acidy, if you would. Cinder, he's one of the 43. So is Meltdown, if I use that name, if I can use that name. Let's see. Tweeka is
Okay.
not one of the 43. An older character, not that old, but older, a character that I kind of wrote into the 43 was the Twisted Man. And he's one of the 43. He kind of messes with reality, sort of like Professor Xavier and Morgan's child, Proteus. Have I got the names right? Shadowhawk.
Yes.
He kind of messed with reality in a different way. He kind of like twist things, and so did
Yeah,
he.
you
But he
actually.
could do a lot. He could probably do a lot more than Twisted Man does.
Yeah, whereas like Picasso just chopped it up.
Yeah, cubistic,
Right.
And then the very first one I did, Zeitgeist. He's Zeitgeist. He's one of the.
Boy, I like
He's
those
one of the
eyes,
43.
man.
But now there's others that like Blitzkrieg. There's others like Blitzkrieg, the speedster, that I have not done a card to, yet. I don't even think I've done. I've tried to do a head sketch of Blitzkrieg, and I wasn't happy with it, the way it turned out. Scratch art is cool, and just got to do it properly. Yeah, you can't erase. You can make your own sheets or buy them. I like the ones with metallic bases. Yeah, I've got some holographic ones, but I like the multicolored ones. A lot of that will be featured in the art book. I will try and show some of the scratch art that I've done. Oh, I've stopped the show.
Like
Why
that.
not? He wants to show his mug, so he's being very subtle about it, motherfucker. Okay, what is this?
What?
This is Chaplin. Very cool. Send that to me, and then all will be made right. Is it all? It's not all about Chaplin, is it?
No, the 40s.
The 40s. Okay, so you got The Great Dictator, which was one of the top 10 movies of 1940.
Yeah.
But Charlie Chaplin, is that the man standing there? Who is that? Is that Humphrey Bogart? Okay, I thought it was. Yeah. In the 1940s, though, Alan Ladd, a gentleman who was born in Hot Springs, Arkansas, was the number one person on movie magazines throughout the 40s, was Alan Ladd. He was a very short man. Okay, just trying to catch up with the chat, and then we will get to Joe Kubert. Yes, Rex is going to draw his own pages. I love it. Yeah, scratch art sucks. Just stop. No, I like etching. It's got an etching quality to it. I like scratch art. You can die on that hill if you want to.
I think it's cool. Rex, real quick.
Let me see. What I heard was I'll be right back.
Okay. I'm going to get a refill, and I'll be right back. I'm not going to go smoke. I'm not going to do nothing but get some coffee.
Right. And bring back your life history with you. What's the best Ghost Rider story, and who is the best Ghost Rider story? I kind of like some of the early ones with Michael Plug. I just kind of like his artwork, He's got a cartoony style. I don't know. Shadowhawk, you've read more Ghost Rider than me. It'd probably have to be a story with Gil Kane, probably.
Who wrote them? Or drew
the best? What's the best Ghost Rider story? And I'm assuming the one with the motorcycle, and not the Western character of the 50s.
Well, you had three versions now of Ghost Rider, because you had Johnny Blaze, and then you had the one that came out in the late 80s or 90s by Mark Teixeira.
Or Art Adams' story in the Fantastic Four, or he's part of the Legion of Monsters.
Yeah. He was in lots of good ones. There were a lot of good stories. I would say probably some of the better stories were with the second generation Ghost Rider. A lot of the earlier ones were kind of retreads. Ghost Rider finds a villain, but the cops all think he's the bad guy, so he's getting chased by the cops while he's trying to do a good deed. Um, Eventually, he'll get the bad guy. But he didn't have a whole lot of real memorable bad guys. The Eye was a big one. Uh, but there's a really good story with the second version of Ghost Rider where he was going up against Typhoid Mary.
Mm-hmm.
That was a pretty good storyline. And then Typhoid Mary was tied to, I think it was her brother or something, somehow got powers too. I don't remember the story completely.
Yeah, basically you could do that. We did that. You put a film, there's a film on the paper that's usually colored underneath, or it might even have a pattern for you to go by and scratch out. I don't like those. I like to, compose my own papers.
No, I don't like the ones that, yeah.
But yeah, we used to put that down with crayon and then scratch it off. Absolutely. It's basically that you are correct. Yeah, I like the line of it. You're actually scratching the lines instead of drawing. I mean, you're still drawing, but you're scratching, you're kind of sculpting, you're etching, your image. You can't erase, so it sort of forces you to be very deliberate with your line. I just like the quality of line. It scratches instead of and hatching and stuff. As opposed to drawn, it just has a different line quality to it,
And Prater 7, Gil Kane was great on Ghost Rider as an artist, but my favorite would probably be Mark Teixeira from the second Ghost Rider, the Danny Ketch version of Ghost Rider.
Wow, K-Pop Junkie says she made bank on scratch art pieces in high school. Good for you.
Cool.
Probably put her through college or something, huh? I did like every Pokemon possible. Let's see. I meant Ghost Rider artist. A lot of people say Texaria. Mark Texaria.
It's Teixeira, but yeah, okay.
Teixeira. So is he Oriental? What the hell?
No, he's Mexican, but that's just the way it's pronounced.
Okay. Why can't everyone be American? Why does it have to be so difficult?
When will Rex realize he is not the center?
I'm not the center of the universe, no. Yeah, I used to get these kits at Walmart, and they're only so much size. I probably should just come into the 21st century, and like you say, I could go and probably find all kinds of sheets to work on. I've kind of gotten away from it. It's kind of messy, It is kind of messy. It kind of gets off on your hands.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
Yeah, building up on it.
Sorry, I'm just being obstinate. It's primarily for children, so it makes sense that Rex likes it so much. I just like the slang. I did. You wouldn't say that if I was in college doing etchings, which I did do, dipping stuff in sulfuric acid. But because it's sort of like the cheap version and the child, version, I liked it because it had all kind of like psychedelic colors underneath it. It was, the rainbow. Tex isn't Mexican. He's a white boy, says Omer Glitch.
Okay, I always thought he was.
How you like this, Rex? I don't know. What would you say, Jay Ryan? What am I like? You have to give me a clue.
Rex is Rex. There's nothing else you can say. I mean, that's the way it is. Right, Shadow? I don't think Shadow's anybody else either. He is Shadow, regardless.
I am what I am.
I am what I am, what I am. Well, I did not know this. Here are some spirit pages from July 21st, 1940 by Will Eisner. So on Joe Kubert Feature Friday, why am I showing this? because Joe Kubert, a very young Joe Kubert, did the colors on this. He did the coloring for this story.
Very cool.
Wow.
I didn't even know Joe did colors.
I guess as a young man, you do a little bit of everything to break into the work, huh?
Yeah, do what you can.
Yeah.
He's 8.
Joe Kubert on the colors, very nice.
I'm gonna call it today, man. I'm pretty beat. So you guys have a great show, and I will be watching. But,
all right, Shadow. Take care.
Chill out.
I hope you feel better,
I'll be watching. I just want to stretch out my knee, put a heating pad on. I'll be listening to you guys.
Okay, bro.
All right. See you later. Hey, well, love you guys.
Love you, buddy.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to show you that. Here, one character that he co-created was Ragman. Here's a great Ragman panel by Joe Kubert. Elsie, definitely wanted to have you on and to talk about Joe Kubert because he's one of your favorites, if not your favorite comic book artist of all time. You are very high on Joe Kubert and always have been.
Yeah,
probably
you're high
your
on
first
the guys you grew up with, aren't you? You know, pretty much. Whoever introduced you to comics was pretty special.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Joe Kubert was kind of like your gateway into comics.
Yeah. I mean, he's the first artist I ever saw on the comic, as a kid that wanted to read it, not just, little kid looking through something, He was serious. At least it was to me.
And it was probably a war book, right? It was probably a war book.
Yeah, most of them were. There were some that were horror and a few westerns, but most of them were war. But I saw other artists, but I just would read it and go on, and then when I'd see him,
it kind of spoke to you, kind of drew you in, right? His style.
That art, it was art. Yeah, it's soul style. Yeah.
Now, did you buy very many westerns, or did it have to be like Joe Kubert westerns?
I bought westerns and war, but I collected more war because, believe it or not, you're sitting there, you're talking about, Nazis and things like that, Rex. Okay. Well, when I was like 5 years old, and I was just beginning to read and understand what was going on in the world, my dad introduced me to World War II. And he showed me graphic pictures of what happened to human beings. And it really irks me to hear somebody just frivolously talk about it, man. Or even to call somebody that. It's horrible, my friend. I don't care. I would not call my worst enemy a Nazi. At least
and that's being
you think
that's
of.
being floated around.
The kind you think of.
Yeah. That's been Trump's a Nazi, and we hear that all the day. We hear that all the time now. Man, it seems like
anytime it's used it's like cursing God in a way. Just use his name frivolously, like it don't mean nothing. Don't mean nothing.
Well, I'm seeing some fatigue by people, Elsie.
Forget about his name.
They say you're racist. Well, they've overplayed that card. They say you're a Nazi. They've overplayed that card. People aren't buying it anymore. They've cried wolf so many times and used the same arguments. People are seeing through this. Just like the budget thing right now. And they're talking about
man, I've been alive 68 years, brother.
It's a healthcare thing.
Years.
No, it's not.
No, that
and they're really complaining about Obamacare, if you think about it.
They want to keep
Obamacare was supposed to be put in place to fix everything, which, of course, at the time we knew it was going to only make it worse, which it has, and drive up costs.
Let me speak for you just 1 minute about.
Sure.
If we're going to talk a little bit about politics, all I can say is this old man's been alive a good while, and ever since I was a kid, I saw technology improve along the way. I saw my parents bettering themselves along the way, and I saw the way government was operating. Government was operating for itself, bro. It wasn't operating for me. If it was operating for me, I'd been dead a long time ago. Seriously. I mean, I was back in the middle of nowhere, and I have not seen. I've seen a few presidents that really, did try to make it patriotic and make us American and hooray, go, USA. I'm for it. I'm for this country. I hope the whole world ends up like America, because it'd be a better world if it did, but it won't happen. People are talking peace in the Middle East. Don't be smiling too big right now. Okay. Yeah. How many years he got left? And what do they know? If he's gone, what happens? They don't know, and they don't care.
Right.
They want what they want. The other world does. Parts of the world.
If you get someone in there that has the same sort of tough demeanor on things, and works with the prime minister, whoever that might be at the time, but yeah, they should be a strong ally of ours. And that's not what we had under Biden or Obama. And that, I think that's
we never had that, brother. Government has always run itself, no matter who is in charge, bro. Even if nobody, like, it's shut down right now.
And we could talk about this for hours, but we got to get to Joe.
But it's running, government is running.
It is running. Yeah. Running. I mean, they've taken a hard look at that. A government shutdown only affects 17% of the government. And all the essential, a lot of this is non-essential spending. I mean, Bernie Sanders proposed over $1 trillion worth of spending. Of course, they want money for PBS. There's no reason why we should spend $50 billion when they have viable
things. We're talking trillions of dollars here, brother. Trillions of dollars, man.
Right.
And you're talking about
1 trillion.
Oh, like it's never happened. Man, it's been in lower forms. It might not have been seen as much, but look, brother, 40 years ago, $1 million will buy a whole lot more than it will today. You just bank on it. And I've not seen my quality of life just dramatically improved, man, ever. I've been alive a long time.
I mean,
bro.
There are younger people,
little things,
I think with Charlie Kirk especially, I think this has been coming on. I think there's a new spirituality going on. There's younger people seeking God in a way that we've not seen before. Yes. I don't know if a lot of people are paying attention to that, but now, Trump in his first term, and this was talked about at the time, was the first quote conservative that they had seen in their lifetime, kind of like Ronald Reagan was back in the 80s for some people.
Yeah.
I would say the two top presidents of the 20th century were Calvin Coolidge. We did very well. And actually, Calvin Coolidge.
Look, let me ask you a question.
Let me finish what I was saying, and then we can comment. Now, we can talk over each other, but then that's not very polite, which is Calvin Coolidge was Ronald Reagan's mentor. His idol, for president. He kind of modeled somewhat, which is wild because he came out of the Democratic Party, and he would say, "I didn't leave the Democratic Party; they left me." They got further and further away than what my core beliefs, my yellow dog Democrat, more liberal beliefs were. And he was conservative, fairly conservative when he was president, right? I mean, and it's sad that he didn't run in 76, that they didn't choose him. And they, because the 70s would have been a lot different if it had been elected. But anyway, his mentor, and he even had the president Coolidge's portrait right there in the Oval Office to his left up on the wall, was his, and I would say him and Ronald Reagan were probably the two greatest presidents of the 20th century, because they were the more conservative presidents, and I think the core beliefs, especially with the rural people, not the urbanites, but the people that live in rural, clinging to their gods and guns and their beliefs of family, and that the family unit should be one of the strongest, most patriotic things, and especially for military families, in America. They're the backbone of America. And when you forsake that and throw that off for a guy in a dress or some of this other garbage they've been throwing, you've missed the mark, of what most people, their core beliefs are. And as much as the propaganda, you try and change people's beliefs, it's not going to change. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just saying, I've been alive 68 years. You
Yeah.
couldn't put my name on any party in the whole book. I look at what's going on, and I choose what's best for this country, period.
Well,
Thomas, I don't look at the person. I don't say, oh, I don't like him, or, oh, he's black, or, oh,
Thomas Jefferson said the party, and even George Washington said that'll be the death of America, the party system. Don't vote party, vote for the best person that's going to actually serve. Anyway, we got to get off this, or we won't have an audience, because people don't want to hear politics. They don't want to hear religion.
No, they don't. But see,
talk
when
about
you
it
pick
a little
somebody
bit,
that you don't even know, that wasn't even alive when you've been alive, how would you even know, really? Except by his ideas you've read about and things.
Study history.
George Washington, then he started the country.
Teachers that'll teach
my favorite. He's
I mean, when we were
George Washington, Thomas Jefferson.
When we were in school, they were still like studying the early treaties of, America and the Magna Carta and other documents like that. I don't think that they do that deep dive anymore with kids. They won't even teach them cursive. And yet when you go to a bank, it's like print and sign your name. Well, I can print my name, but I can't sign it because I've never learned cursive.
You're putting it off on somebody else, those kids on somebody else. It starts at home. And if you don't teach your kids to want to educate themselves and want to read and want to write, then they're not going to.
At one time in America, all schools were homeschools. And it was like Thomas Jefferson started and others of that era that started Harvard and Yale, and they all started out as like Christian colleges, which is wild because you got people protesting anti-God stuff right now, and have been for decades. But I mean, it's like
I have to start off like Joe Kubert, brother. I have to start it off with something I found recently within the past year, and I didn't know he had done it. Have you ever seen anything like this?
Yes.
It is a nice book, man. It's not signed. I just
can you like show? I mean, can you like show it more than 2 seconds up on the screen?
Actually, my friend, it is signed. I didn't know it was.
Cool. You actually had a signed book by Joe Kubert that you ordered, and a tornado came through, and it totally wiped it out. Yeah,
it's gone.
It was there at the post office, and the post office was
this
gone.
way, Rex. I can show the whole book, but I mean, look at
it's about Vietnam. Please don't. We got a lot to cover. But that's nice. Look at that. That's just pencil work, isn't it?
Yeah. The book is.
And what is the title? Can you please tell us what we're looking at?
Okay, we're looking at Dong Zai, Vietnam, 1965, written and illustrated by Joe Kubert. And down here in the corner, it says DC Comics, the Joe Kubert Library. And here's the back of it.
Yeah.
Look at that art, man.
And when was this
See, I could
published?
see somebody doing that in war. If they're down in the tunnel, man, and they didn't, you know, I would probably remember all that stuff, and
Well,
like
I
he
mean,
did in this book.
he actually did serve in the military, and that was the thing about it. That's
Yeah.
I'm amazed at some of the. When was that published? By the way, if you don't mind looking that
Okay.
up,
He
if you don't
signed it
know.
in 2011.
Okay, so it's around 2011. Let's
Yeah.
just go with that.
It's probably signed when he came out, so it hadn't been. I didn't even know about it. Let's see. The year before 2010.
Okay.
But I'm proud of that. Now I know it's signed. I was proud of it before. As you noticed, I wanted to show it first.
Well,
Yeah. I have picked out several. When you want to talk about his artwork and covers, I can show you a lot of the Adlers that I picked out.
And I selected my Adlers as well. So let's get started.
There you go.
Here is the man holding a Joe Kubert that Elsie used to. This particular piece here, I own, and I'll show it here next. It is, and this is before he signed it in ballpoint pen, which was kind of unusual because he usually signed these things in Sharpie. Elsie owned this, traded it back to this gentleman here of Key Comics, and he was receiving an honorary Lifetime Achievement Award at the convention out in 2004, because it's on his tag there, real big, 2004. He was probably in his 90s here, wasn't he?
He was getting near his end.
He was getting, probably, I mean, he lived a few years after that, but yeah, he was, I don't know if he's in a wheelchair even by this point.
Robert said he lived pretty hard,
Yeah, Robert. This is Robert here from Key Comics. He's the one that we bought all these production pieces from, and they're one of a kind production pieces in most cases. So Elsie owned this colored tomahawk. It was hand painted piece, and he traded it back for something else. Robert would take it and get it signed by him, and in the interim, he got it signed, and then I bought it. And that's the one he's holding there and would later sign.
Hand painted or approval? Because I must have wanted something if it was painted.
Yeah, you must have. It's the particular piece that he's holding there and that he signed is hand painted. I think maybe because it was Son of Tomahawk. He did like Joe Kubert. And in fact, Jack Adler was asked by Joe Kubert to start the school and teach the school and become partners with him. But he probably didn't want to go to New Jersey. He declined the offer. But that's how much they were, intertwined, Joe Kubert. And Joe Kubert was one of Jack Adler's, stalwart, but now here his signature here on this hand painted piece that Elsie used to own, traded it back. And in fact, this is not the only instance. There's a Joe Kubert, and I don't know where that is. Elsie, come to think of it, that's a Joe Kubert, and it wasn't in that box with these others. And it's one of my favorites. That's maybe why it may be up here in this stack or something. But Joe, he had turned that Sergeant Rock in, and I bought it. He thought it was hand painted. He because at one time he was buying all the hand colored pieces, and then he started getting the approvals and the untrimmed approvals and the color
I saw
separation.
how much nicer, I saw how much nicer the approval was, than the regular cover. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's nice. Very nice.
Yeah, and Elsie used to own this before it was signed, and then he traded it back, and that's the only reason it got signed. And it got signed in 2004, and that's so cool that he's like
And you
holding it,
grabbed
in the picture. That's providence for this piece.
big
And
time.
I already own this, the approval cover, so it's a diptych. I have both of them.
Cool.
And he didn't sign very many of these. We've only got in between
Robert
us
said,
probably
he
about a
said
dozen
we bought them
signs.
all.
Huh?
We bought it. We got them all that he signed, except for maybe one he kept.
And now on the back of the notations, sometimes I know I've got one Binky that I don't have in this pile because it's not Joe Kubert cover, but he put his initials of approval on it along with Joe Orlando and Carmen Infantino.
I'll
Here
look and
is
see if any of these have it.
Korak, son of Tarzan, released the Kraken. Look at this one.
Oh, wow. That's cool, man. Dude, that's nice.
Can you hear me? Can you
I
hear
can
me?
hear you just fine, bro.
Hit my audio cord and it went out on me, so I had to engage it again. Rima didn't run for that many issues, but Joe Kubert did it. Rima number 3.
Yes.
Some Jungle Girl action.
But I just liked his art. I guess that's why I would like him.
Yeah. Now, I found out that this one here is a redo of a cover I believe he did in the 50s. He did a similar cover in the 50s for Strange Adventures, and that's this same title here, even though it says Gigantic Strange Adventures. This was they put more stories in here, more reprint material, and they kind of changed the title, although it's really the same title. But I believe in the 50s, he's either redoing this cover a second time, or he's mimicking the artist that did the original 50s cover. I can't remember which, but
I got
and it had different. It had one of the first DC books after I started collecting, bought it at TGNY, had the Atomic Knights and the Adam Strange in it, and it just wasn't the Avengers. But now you're gonna love this one, and this is an early. This is the painted Joe Kubert inked, I believe, and it's even got written in silver or pencil here, even YBTK or something like that, which is part of the coloring on that. And it is signed by Jack Adler, and I believe this is, I didn't look it up, but I believe it's inked by Neil Adams. Neil Adams, maybe with Joe Kubert, did this story. But now here it says, and it's X'd out. This is why I know it's early. And if you look at the finished cover, it doesn't say special issue story illustrated by Alex Toth. It's Neil Adams. So this never happened. But look at that. Enemy Ace cover by Joe Kubert and Neil Adams. Signed by Jack Adler.
Yeah, that's a
painted piece. Doesn't get much better than that.
No.
That's been actually altered, changed. You won't see this on the finished cover.
Yeah.
So for some reason, Alex Toth didn't do it, but Neil Adams did. So. And this is very rare. I think this was the only one. Had like a rice paper cover sheet on it.
Oh, yeah.
With sort of instructions there, probably written by Adler or Joe Kubert. I don't know. I would have to get an analyst, and this is a painted piece. You can tell by like the mark of blue that they would just go across. That's supposed to be in blue. The 20 cents supposed to be in red. So it is a painted piece, but with a cover sheet, which is highly unusual. I mean, probably the only one in the collection.
See how they traced the form, how they traced it, and then
and indicated to the printer.
No.
Yeah. Look at this one. One of my signed Adlers.
Yes. Nice. I've got that book.
Joe Kubert.
Yes, sir. Yeah, got that one. It's a good one to have.
And they come with certificate of authenticity, and often he would date them when we bought them. Like I bought this back in April or around April 2005. So that kind of dates it, you know. And I'm going to show Elsie's. This is Elsie's. I'm holding it for him. This is the final untrimmed approval cover because it has the ads, the inside front cover and the inside back cover and the back ads printed. Awesome. It's the untrimmed approval cover to this issue.
Cool.
Gorilla cover by Joe Kubert. So look at the logo in white and everything. I have an early pull of it. This is Elsie's. This is mine. Same cover. This is an early version. They didn't put the little words of the in there. It just says Challengers Unknown on my version. And it's not in white. It's in black.
Mm-hmm.
So that changed.
Were they of the in black?
And there's also none of the numbers of the issue like you've got up here. And month, the month is there, but no issue number up in here. So they left the wording out and left the issue number off, which does happen occasionally. But even just the coloring is a little different of these. I think yours is a little darker gorilla, you know, and you don't get the detail you do on this early pool. But this is the finished version, Elsie's, and this is the early one of it. Same cover. And you can see even how the logo, how they changed the logo.
Matched pair. We wanted to keep them together. Right. We didn't want to separate them, did we?
Right. Get my audio cable. So those are my Adlers. So let's go over to you and see your Adlers of Joe Kubert.
Well, I pulled one out of the jacket to see if it had a label, but it's this one. It's not signed. But I've got it out of the bag.
Okay. And that's painted piece. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, that is definitely different to have an acetate overlay to go over the work to do the logo with. That's cool. That's real cool.
There is no tape on this bag.
Good.
And it had notes on it too, on the back.
Yeah. Need to call that number and see if it connects. Yeah. Probably not after Probably 50 not. Years. Probably not. Look at this Joe Kubert piece.
That's nice.
That's Sasquatch meets Cthulhu. That's the stuff of nightmares there. Of course, he did Tor. I don't know. That's probably from a Tor. A
Tor
story. This doesn't really smack of Joe Kubert, but it is. It's Joe Kubert.
That's a nice one.
I always loved this cover. They didn't have parachutes in World War One, and he's going down, and they're saluting each other.
Wow.
So the murderous skies claim another brave victim. I salute you, as he falls to his death. And the thing about Enemy Ace is he was the Germans. He was the enemy, and yet he was kind of made out, I don't know, not necessarily as the good guy, but he was.
I would say half of those guys were guys. They weren't murderous pigs like half of them were.
Especially in World War One, the flying aces were kind of like the Knights of the Sky and had a flying code, right? That they went by. I always like his snow scenes when things are like snow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he did a number of those snow scene war covers quite effectively. And I don't know about that one. I don't think that's Joe Kubert. You might have had something to do with it.
Let me get rid of my empty coffee cup. Then I'll show the rest of my Adlers. I've also got the stack of photographs of Jack Adler in them. Ooh, look at that. That's nice.
Look at that wild looking Hawkman mask.
Man, that's nice.
And when they brought back sort of the Golden Age Hawkman and we're telling the World War
I'll be right back.
Two stories in All-Star Squadron, they brought back this mask with the little tongue sticking out, and yeah. Golden Age Index of Joe Kubert stuff. And we'll look at some of his Golden Age work. Of course, his style changed over time, different influences and whatnot. Here was one of his showcase Nightmaster, which was 3 issues with Nightmaster introducing. Often, they would introduce a character like Adam Strange and run him for 3 issues and then run something else and later check the sales on the book. If it's so good, they give them, their own series. I think this Flash was done by Joe Kubert in the 90s. Very nice. It's probably not a character he didn't work on, although he's most known for the war. Mostly Sergeant Rock, but here's the Unknown Soldier doing for the Who's Who. That red would have been a separate layer the way they used to do these things. Instead of the black line artwork would have been put on a separate sheet. Sergeant Rock from Who's Who. I think they compiled those into the book. In showcase number 4, the very beginning, he inked Carmen Infantino's Flash. So he was there at the very start of even before, he started in the late 30s, early 40s in comics. But he was the inker on the Flash in showcase number 4, which reintroduced the Flash, which was the first hero that was sort of redone, and they continued on the numbering when Flash got his own They continued the numbering from the old Flash. They didn't change the numbering, which I thought was pretty cool. Here's one of his westerns from 1970. Kind of neat to see the mirror in the bar reflect the gunman that's coming through the doors. There were a few of those westerns that Alex Toth and Joe Kubert and some others were doing at the time in the early 70s. I guess that was probably when westerns were dying out on TV and weren't that big an influence. Here's with Murphy Anderson inks, Adam and Hawkman toward the end of the run when the title became not just the Atom, but Adam and Hawkman. This is Joe Kubert with Murphy Anderson inks, which is kind of unusual because Joe Kubert inked most of his own stuff.
Pretty early, isn't it? Or not too early, but.
Well, toward the end of the Adams run, it became Adam and Hawkman. But this is with Murphy Anderson inking Joe Kubert's pencils. And on this first one, I just like the profile up by the logo where they put the credits.
Yeah.
That's kind of neat, the silhouette. And I showed this while you were gone. I'll back up. He inked Carmen Infantino on showcase number 4 of the Flash when they brought the Flash back, the first appearance of Barry Allen's Flash. He was the inker.
Huh.
So he was there on the very first book, which is considered the Silver Age. Punisher War Journal. How about that? Joe Kubert Punisher.
Since we're talking about Joe Kubert, bro, I got a good story to tell you. I got a comic book at the local comic shop. It's a 1972 48 pager.
Is it a Joe Kubert?
Yes, it is. And
okay.
It was in the Adler collection. Okay.
Oh, it was in that. It was in the Adler collection. Okay. We don't have this particular one, I don't think.
No, I didn't have it, and she had it, and I just got it. I didn't care the condition. It was not rag, so. But I went home and did a search and see what it was worth, and this guy had the 4-color separation of this book, and I've got it on bid for $73.
Oh yeah! If you get it for that price,
I couldn't pass it up, dude.
Did you win it?
It had the paper. Yes, that's what I'm telling you.
Oh, okay. So you do have the Adler to this.
I just now today. I was the day I won it.
Oh, today you won it. Okay, well, good.
Yeah.
And this is a person that bought an Adler from Robert and then put it up for sale. We've seen that time again.
It has the whole thing, and has the date he bought it and everything.
Right.
I'm putting that. But since we're there, you know how we do acetates on our site. Well, here's an acetate. And I do have a COA with it, 152.
Yeah. Not very many of those,
so no. There's
but now
few.
This came from the Adler collection, correct?
Yeah, his own house. This came out of his house.
Yeah, because once Adler passed away, Robert went and got all the artwork, and he even took another gentleman with him that. And that's a painted piece there, obviously.
Yeah, he just wanted the guy that went with him just wanted the books. He said, "Well, he got
great paperbacks because he had quite the library."
Yeah, he that's all he wanted. He didn't care about anything production or anything. It's signed down here, and I've got a matched pair. I've got the
Very nice.
approval. This is a real nice one. I bet if I pull it out, it'll have a slip on the back.
You don't have what on the back?
Probably a approval paper. I won't take it out unless it does.
It'll probably have a what?
It does. Look at this on the back.
Oh, yeah. Notes. Wow. Yeah. And all that's still stuck to it after
Initialed
60
by
years.
J.K., Joe Kubert, and Carmen Infantino, C.I. Well, J.K., I assume, is Joe Kubert. But there's Jack Adler signed it.
And
that's your
Jack
painted.
Adler
And
saved a lot of
these
these.
were only on the painted. They didn't put any of these on the approvals.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah,
because
often they would just stamp the approvals.
Yeah, to get the approval, they had to go back with different notes. And then when this was done,
Binky,
he said
that Binky cover I was talking about, it's painted, but it's stamped with 3 squares, and it's
some of them are
Jack Adler, Joe Kubert, and Carmen Infantino, or Joe Orlando, and
Carmen Infantino.
Carmen Infantino, right? All signed off on that cover.
Now this one,
but it's stamped. It's not like taped on that. That's amazing. That any of these are one of a kind production pieces. Without this, you don't have the book. This is how the book was created. This is a stage in the creation of the comic.
It does not happen anymore. Okay.
Most of the stuff was they do it all in computer now. Pretty much it was shredded, burned, destroyed, thrown in the trash. All this. It's amazing these things were saved. Less
Over
than 1%.
50 years old.
Huh?
Over 50 years old, bro.
Yeah.
Most of them. Some of them older than that.
Oh, while you try and get that back in. This is an Adler here. I've seen this as an Adler.
Yeah, that's a nice book too.
Mm-hmm. Tarzan, Joe Kubert. He did do some Tarzan. A lot of Tarzan.
Got a big. He did most of them.
Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
How do you wrestle a rhino? Very carefully.
Yeah, from the side.
One of his unexpected covers.
Chunk.
You can be see the film Superman 2. So this was around Superman 2 time.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that, Gunner and Sarge. Lighting that little stub, that stogie.
Yeah. Classic artwork, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like he did stuff from the beyond the unknown. You know, and he just did everything. It not only war, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Fighting.
Nice pterodactyl.
Yeah.
There's your lizard representation for today. Fighting with clubs and stones, and they're firing missiles.
Yeah, jets. Here's the approval for the that one I had that was hand painted and signed.
Oh, yeah. A diptych. Yeah, you need to stick those two together side by
And
side.
here's the other approval for that other one.
Yeah, I need to stick that one. Keep them together.
And this one is Robert said that Joe Kubert had it laminated, and it because it was his favorite one.
It is nice with that silhouette of him standing in the fire there.
Yeah. But it's laminated, you know.
Yeah, he laminated it to protect it.
But none of the others are laminated.
Well, you think about the age of Adler. He grew up with westerns, you know, himself,
Mm-hmm.
and probably played
Yeah.
cowboys and Indians when he was a kid. That's what
I
you
got a
did.
stack of them around here somewhere.
So he
Where they
probably liked the westerns, the different genre stuff besides the superhero stuff.
Here's a stack of books that I took together that were his because they were different.
There you go, Strange Adventures. See that picture may be redrawn from him, and Strange Adventures, reprinting and some of the larger ones, the reprint issues, he would he fit stories from the 50s that were originally in the 50s, and he would redo I bet that's a cover redo from the 50s.
Maybe. I like them. They were cool stories like this one. Man, it was awesome. Yeah, showing how they perceive him and how he really is, you know. I can't hear you, Rex.
I know I'm not saying anything. I'm eating
Just
M&M's.
make sure that's kind
Thanks
of
for calling
rare
me. Yeah, no,
sometimes.
that's fine.
But here's one I kind of like.
Oh yeah, we looked at this book the other day, and you said, "Oh man, I got to get that." Well, you already have it right there. You were like, "I hadn't seen that before," but I mean, when you have so many books, you forget. Look at the coloring on that. Wow. And that's a
There's your
newer
lizard
book. So,
representation.
Andy, we haven't mentioned, but Andy or his other son could have had a hand in doing, helping him out with some of this stuff. They did do
Adam,
collaborative stuff like Ghost Rider, Joe Kubert did do some inking and stuff on Ghost Rider even
yeah, he did.
in the 90s. Yeah, he did a few. I had forgotten he did a few Commandy covers, especially this one from 1976, because it is the DC Bullet right there in the middle of the banner. That's cool. That's one of the wilder
76,
covers. I'm not even sure
76,
I've got that one. I think
that's a
I think I
40-year-old
do
book.
because I think I've got a complete collection of Commandy in floppies. I just don't remember
Book
that
ain't
cover.
coming
That
out of
one's
that place.
wild.
That is wild. That's one of my favorites as far as Commandy goes, except number
Reminds
one.
me of a soap opera, As the Worm Turns.
Mm.
The Nightmare. That must be talking about Tarzan's wife, Jane. Just saying.
Either that or the green thing coming up out of the ground.
Yeah, kind of a snake shaman witch doctor.
Medusa, like witch doctor, crazy witch character, summoned up by the spawns of hell. And these are in pretty nice shape too, man. Like I said, I always liked it when I was collecting. I learned from you, get the nicest book you can.
Skull cover.
So when I came across real nice
Bondage
Bronze
cover.
Age books, I'd get them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, those hands. You can draw hands. You can draw anything.
and you see the silhouette of the character, it makes you wonder what the creature looks like. Yeah, Weird Worlds. Yeah.
Dude's
Which had
going at it,
Edgar
man.
Rice Burroughs' Tarzan, also had John Carter of Mars that you see there.
If I don't touch my screen occasionally, it just goes off. It's weird.
Okay. Well, to me, it looked always in focus. I don't know what it looks like to the
Well, it's
audience,
just
but
on my end. Now, this one is one of my favorite Superman covers.
why?
Because of, first of all, because the guy coming out of from the background, man, and then look down and see Joe Kubert doing it. Then all of a sudden it's a Superman, and all of a sudden it's a 12 center. I said, it's a beauty. Has everything I like.
That character is drawn like in almost like grease pencil, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. Like that gray tone. Just
Like a partial gray tone cover, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's what Adler would do. He would combine photographs of art into art, and it'd look gray tone. Because I've got many of those old.
Right, but now that isn't an
Gothic.
example of what you're talking about. That you're.
No, I don't
But
know
yeah.
that for a fact. I just know what I've been told.
Oh,
Here's
yeah,
my
and he
last
helped
one I have
develop the 3D
available.
comic books. Absolutely, yeah, from the early 50s.
Matter of fact, when I bought this, this seemed to might have been one of the first 3D comics. That's why I got it.
Yep. I've got Mighty Mouse
Not,
in 3D, and that thing's like a 9.0. The only thing that really hurts it is I had the 3D glasses, but they're detached out of the book.
yeah. This is 1953.
Yeah, all those were done about 53. Yeah. Of course, you've got acetate separations done by
I don't know
Kurt
what all
Swan.
this is, but I can share or
Oh,
not.
look at that.
But
Yeah.
like you said, with Jack Adler, and Robert said that his grandkids and relatives were back there.
That's awesome. Yeah. If we do a book
And
on
here
him,
he
we got to
evokes
include that.
laughter and claps sitting there during his thing. Says Jack admires his paint on Tomahawk, your Tomahawk. Then there's Walt Simonson at the San Diego Comic Con in 2004.
Walt Simonson?
Mm-hmm. Now, which one I couldn't tell you. This here is Neil Adams, and they discuss his horror comic.
Yeah, Robert got a lot of the Adlers signed by Neil Adams. We'll be talking Neil Adams in a couple of weeks.
Here's where he's signing. Robert says Russ Heath signs your GI Combat cover.
Yeah, we'll be talking Neil Adams next week.
And I have the Russ Heath.
Who's that?
Signed.
Russ Heath? Russ Heath?
Yes.
Yeah, he did a lot of good war books.
I've got him. He's signing the one I have. So it's like Providence. Interesting superheroes he saw through the show.
Cosplay.
I guess he thought was interesting.
Yeah. Quite daring to go out in public like
here
that.
He is. Here's a picture of him with his daughter, 2003.
Robert?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was there. He is with a bunch of more characters.
Wow. Cosplay. Yeah. Cosplayer.
Here's Jack Adler and his family.
That's great. That's great.
And Mark Evanier leads standing ovation for Mr. Adler.
Yeah, it is Mark. Yeah, the writer. Yeah.
Yeah. And then on a harbor tour boat in San Diego.
Okay.
That's Robert. Neil Adams at the 2004 San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, unfortunately, he had a falling out with Neil Adams, and
Golden Age Greats panel.
is Adler up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Jack Adler shows his Ink Spot Award in San Diego 044.
Wow.
And another picture back to where we began.
Yeah, Jack
So
Adler was the vice
ever...
president of production at DC Comics for a long time.
Yeah, well, he was, put this way, he was vice president of the company because Joe Orlando was his only boss. And Robert, all he ever said was, hey, when Joe wanted to do something, he'd go talk to Joe Orlando. He'd say, look, you're making me money. I don't care what you do as long as you keep making me money. And so he just gave him a free hand at trying new stuff and doing new things like gray toning, the 3D process, and all the stuff
Photographs.
He was involved in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I've got a lot of his photography, real nice stuff of art, you know.
Well, he was an innovator, you know, that's great. He was creative himself. He loved photography. He loved the printing process and knew what would work, what wouldn't. I would say a lot of those color, you know, like I look at some of those and I see some of those Silver Age books and go, bam, the color just, wow. They don't do color like that anymore. And they're probably Jack Adler's. You know,
there's too many colors now. They would usually go by a palette, a 12 color scheme.
Mm-hmm.
Now they'd vary it a little bit, you know, with other colors, vary it a little bit here and there, but you know, it kept it basic. Now there's a million colors and they got unlimited choices. So you don't get the same effect by hand done, thinking about it. Okay, I want to use this and this to get an effect. You know, it's just done to look nice.
You know, it's still, I think that, you know, when you think about just like a painter and in printing, and then acetate help you visualize that, different layers, layering. Even when I'm coloring these sketch cards, I'm layering certain colors, you know, to achieve certain diffused looks or more intense looks, you know, thinking layers, thinking, you know, that was what 3D in college.
3-dimensional. When you look at something 3-dimensional,
because a sculpture an object has to look good all the way around. It has to be aesthetically pleasing and we don't often think in those terms, right?
But it is. People who are artists do.
Yeah. And, you know, I often got praised for thinking out of the box, you know, and the other students was like, he didn't do the assignment. Yes, no, you know, I thought out of the box, you know, and did it differently than everybody else.
It depends on your professor, because here's your professor. One professor would say, why? And you'd say, why not? And he'd give you an A. Another one, you'd say, why not? And smack you across the face and give you an F for being a smart ass.
Better not. I'll sue his ass.
Well, I mean, he wouldn't smack you across the face, but he'd give you an F for being a smart ass.
Sizer monkey.
You know, and you turn in 2 words. There's no directions. It's just this why.
Right.
The guy wrote, why not?
I don't know if this is from Fire Hair, but do you remember Fire Hair, sort of the Western of the 70s? The female character that, you know?
I do.
Oh, there you go. There's your 1971. There's your
there's my
at
Jack's
Kubert.
Favorite cover.
Adler's
I wanted to say something,
cover.
Rex, while we're looking at Joe. I wanted to say something because when I think of nowadays, ever since I met Robert about 30 years ago, I started looking at Jack Adler and Joe Kubert almost in a synonymous type of way, because in a way I think Jack was really helping Joe along the way. I think they were good friends because I mean, who would you? If it'd be like me, who would I ask to do something if I was to go into business and needed a partner? I'd ask you, just like he thought about. And then like you said, Jack Adler. At least this is what I was told. He did not want to move to where Joe Kubert was going to start his school, so he said no. And so therefore, you had the Joe Kubert School of Art.
Which, there's quite a few alumni. This is inked by Joe Kubert. I actually have a reproduction of this one. Yeah, not the original, but a reproduction of it that they came out with several years ago. Here's a Claw the Unconquered cover that he did.
That's nice.
In the 70s. A lot going on in that. He's fighting rat men, rat people. 1948, Flash Comics number 100. This was towards the end of the run because it only ran like 103 or 104 issues, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the Silver Age, look, it's even got Duels of the Human Fly. So Human Fly term's been around for a long time. There you go. I believe this one here is an Adler. Actually, I think I've seen this as an Adler.
It's Silver Age.
Nice black cover from 1968.
I guarantee the colors were done by Adler.
There you go. This is Andy Kubert with Joe Kubert on the inks, the Ghost Rider. They did a pretty nice Ghost Rider in the 90s, the Rise of the Midnight Suns. And, of course, Joe Kubert did the prototype for what would become the Neil Adams cover.
Wow, I didn't know that. I've got that original book.
Joe Kubert did this originally, and then Neil Adams kind of did his own thing and put celebrities and other people of DC Comics out in the audience, but this was Joe Kubert's version. So he did a lot of work on this for them not to use it.
I'd love to have.
Of course, Neil Adams was the artist inside. This is Tomahawk, done by Joe Kubert. Nice horse. Look at that.
And Joe Kubert, man, he was around when Jack and then with that first Superman work they did. I'm sure Jack and Joe were together early on because they were both young. I don't know that, but I would suspect that.
1957, Our Army at War by Joe Kubert.
Year I was born. 68 years ago.
Joe had already been in comics for a couple decades, almost.
Wow. One of my favorite books I got was the Joe Kubert, The War Years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got Joe Kubert art, and it's by Al Dellinges.
1956 on this. Look at that expression on his face. It doesn't even really look like Joe Kubert.
Wasn't even born.
1972, Weird Western Tales.
Man. Cool.
Skull cover.
He did some good ones.
Look at the opening. The opening even looks like a skull.
Yeah. Looks like a Punisher skull.
Another Son of Tomahawk. You're a white woman. And this would have had a different separate layer in it. The slave with the chains in the red.
Wow. That's a great one. What number is that?
He's my property.
What number is that one?
Let's see. 1971. Number 136, I believe. 136.
Okay.
$19.75 here. Jonah Hex without his shirt on.
Yeah. Wow, man.
And Adolf Hitler cover.
Woo.
Unknown Soldier mask, you know.
Yeah. I think I've got several of those, man.
Look, he's got Mussolini there. He's got FDR. He's got Churchill. He's got Stalin. Yeah. Look at all the different leaders mask he has.
Who's that dude looking at him?
The black guy?
Yeah. Who
in
do you
uniform?
know who he is? Yeah,
no.
I don't know. I don't know who he is.
I don't know either. I don't think he's supposed to be anybody in particular. I command you to stop. Pew, pew, pew.
Yeah.
Captain Cloud's out of his head, Gunner. He'll be cutting too, Sarge. 52 glorious pages. Look at this. 1945 All-Star Comics number 26 by Joe Kubert. Hawkman.
Wow.
Robot.
That robot. Cool robot.
It's wild how he did the Hawkman wings back then, you know? Mm-hmm. He didn't do the individual feathers. He just kind of did the streaking lines in the wings.
Yeah.
Looks like one big mass. I always thought that was wild. I've got this one. Superman and the Demon, DC Comics presents. Did the cover and the interiors to that issue. I wonder if he did the lettering on this. I bet he did.
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, that looks like it was worked into it. Yeah. Great Superman sequentials here, though. Check this one out. Just blue line and pencil.
Oh, yeah, that is awesome. But he had to have inked it and completed it and done it in blue line.
Unless he went with something else. This is 1946 Joe Kubert cover. 1946.
Oh, he was young.
Isn't that wild? You wouldn't even think that's Joe Kubert, would you?
No, you wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Another 1946 cover, showing a little perspective there.
Since I know a little bit about him doing. Hawkman.
Look how big he made the wings on the Hawkman mask.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
But it's wild how he did the feathers just with like the hashing marks, you know, the sort of zigzag pattern. I always thought that was kind of weird the way it. 1946 here. Look at the wings. The wings are just something wild, man.
Cute. I ain't never seen no wings like that before.
Yeah, I mean, it's really stylized. Of course, he would not draw the wings the same way.
Right.
In the 60s. He would do the individual feathers and stuff.
Probably hard to even find that book.
Gorilla cover, 1957.
Yeah.
It's wild how many times I used magenta on a cover.
Boy, doesn't it bleed through pretty good too?
Oh, it sure does. Yeah, that red will too.
Yeah.
Pew, pew, pew.
Look at that
Tank
one.
Rider.
Red.
Another red one from
They like to
57.
use
Look at
red,
that.
didn't they?
A Nazi symbol on their helmets. I really don't think the Nazis had helmets that had the symbol like that on there, unless I'm mistaken. But it sure makes a good target to shoot at, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Trigger Man. He didn't do this cover from 1952, Avon Comics, but there is Joe Kubert artwork in this. He might have done some of that side panel work. That might be his work on the side panel. Police lineup. There you go. Early Joe Kubert Hawkman going up against Per Degaton. The only reason I know it's Per Degaton is he was in All-Star Squadron. This is All-Star Comics from 1947. Here's some of his stuff in the 70s, 80s that he did.
Yeah, Mystery in Space was a wild, wild run. Look at that.
Look at that one with little space gremlins.
Oh. Help me.
All Out War. I know you took some of my All Out Wars home.
I got a bunch. How many
He
did I
did
take
some of them.
I didn't
there's a Joe Kubert score. He even did pulps. This pulp from the early 50s. He's got a story in Weird Horrors.
Oh.
How about that?
Who did that cover? Who did
I know
that
the
cover,
cover's killer. I had to show this.
Man, that's wild.
They've got one of those 70s mood rings on.
Man.
Remember the mood rings?
Oh yeah.
The Redeemer is something that he worked on. A character called the Redeemer.
That's pretty wild. Look at that.
Yeah, actually, I did some scratch art with my different characters on fingers. So great minds think alike. I don't think the Redeemer ever happened, or it was very limited for DC Comics. I think they announced that it was coming and it was canceled. Very nice. Look at this.
JSA.
Look at that Hawkman eye, man. He just looks sinister with that wild looking mask.
He's giving you the eye. He sees.
A piece of rag and a hank of hair. And what's my place? What the hell? Okay, here we go. He's got Joe Kubert's got artwork in Cowpuncher. (1947) Cowpuncher. He didn't do the cover here. Bondage cover there. That's Matt Baker cover, art by Jack Kamen. Dr. Mask Retro Elixir shared this one out in 2023. First story says art by Joe Kubert and inks by Frank Frazetta.
Wow. Huh. Frazetta.
I am not seeing it, but I am more familiar with their later work. Wow. And Sergeant Rock was actually a line. Look at that.
Wow.
McFarlane upgrade of the Rock characters.
That's cool. Well, that's from his new The Prophecy.
Yeah, yeah. Rima. Number one.
Number one. It's a snake, isn't it?
Had Joe Kubert and Nestor Ronaldo artwork in it.
Wow.
Star Spangled War Stories, Joe Kubert cover. He's lobbing in a grenade into the Nazis.
And you can pull out I can reach in that box and pull out a big stack of war covers from any title, and it'll have him in it.
Oh yeah, House of Mystery. He did I Vampire. Did several of those.
Yeah.
Covers. I remember I Vampire. This is from 1946, All Star Comics. Wait a minute. What the hell?
Night Master.
Don't mess with me. No. Starting over. Let's see. There we go. 1946 Joe Kubert cover.
Wonder how much you got paid for that cover.
Doesn't really look like Joe Kubert artwork, does it?
No. You got to put 7 people in there.
Joe Kubert Presents, number 3 here. That looks like his Redeemer character. Yep, there you go. Redeemer.
Reckoning.
Alien creatures. Winter Soldier cover from 2012. Who knew Joe Kubert did Winter Soldier? Another snow scene. Kind of a simple cover, really. But this was probably toward the end of his life. Even did digest. Look at this. This is a good one. Neil Adams, Bernie Wrightson, Kaluta, Wood, Best of Ghost in a little digest with Joe Kubert cover.
Well, I ain't got that one.
I haven't either. That's a good one. I'd never even seen this one. That came out in 1982. Blue Ribbon Digest number 17. If I did see it, I might have passed on it at the time. Prayer. Pick up your rifle and help yourself. Sure, pray, but pick up your rifle and help yourself. Look at that. 1 million years ago. Saber-tooth tiger. That's what comics need, is edited by Joe Kubert. That was early 50s. Oh, yeah, I've got this one in my collection there. Him sitting at the desk with all the characters he's worked on. Vigilante, Johnny Quick, Wildcat, Batman. And like I say, he did some of the latter Atom. It changed from the Atom to Atom and Hawkman toward the end of the run. And Joe Kubert did most of the covers at that time.
It's almost like he did most of DC's covers.
Viking Prince there. Viking Prince was one. Here's another Clawley and Concord cover. Look at the color of that from the mid 70s.
Yeah.
Magenta and red. And with that sort of greenish yellow and blue logo, it's kind of trippy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Star Spangled War stories with the dinosaurs. There we go. GI Robot too. Tidbit for a Tyrannosaurus. I'm told he really liked to draw dinosaurs. Early GI Robot, who would later be part of the Creature Commandos.
Yeah. I remember when there was like a half robot and half man or something. Looked like a man. He'd been hit. And they're asking if he's okay. Yeah, I'm okay. And you see where he got blown up. And he's a robot.
Oh yeah. Now, when you see a cover like this, do you go, I used to have that one as a kid. I recognize that.
Well, when
Not
I
really.
was a kid, I went through so many of them, and I could probably say, yeah, I've read that one. But until I looked at it again, would I be 100%?
So you really enjoyed comics, and when we kind of got together in college, and I was a big comic book fan, I kind of got you back into comics, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
And the love of
part
comics.
of my youth.
Yeah.
Part of my younger years.
Another Eye Vampire. I remember when these were on the stands, but I passed them up. I did look at them though. Oh, and yeah, 1972 here with N. Adams there. I believe this one's an Adler, right?
It is, but that one was way out of reach. That other guy had it.
Yeah, probably $3,000 or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There you go. There's the Neil Adams, and you got Jimmy Carter there on the bottom right, and Batman, other known people from the DC.
Yeah. And on the inside, it tells you who everybody is.
Neil Adams there. We'll be looking at him tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but next Friday, rather.
Weird War Tale.
Yeah, some of these like this are hard to find.
Brother,
there's Joe Kubert right there.
Pick them up when I can.
Skull cover. Flash. Look at that.
Huh. Soldier or Savage. Both. And it's, if you look at the way he draws, it's like almost like cursive.
I had an acetate to this cover from 1976. Wow. I think I've still got it, actually. A large acetate. It's a big one from the Brazilian collection.
Man.
Here's Adam Kubert, his oldest son, when he was younger. Adam and Andy are both in comics. This is something called The Challenger that he did. It's amazing how his art style changed over time. 1945-46, The Challenger was a 4-issue series designed to fight prejudice and discrimination, featuring Joe Kubert and others on the artwork. Some of the showcase Night Masters that introduced the character. And a 3-issue arc. Bernie Wrightson did the interior artwork to those. Jeffrey, Catherine Jones, and Michael Kaluta. One of the last showcased issues done by Joe Kubert, 101, it only ran 104 issues, and Joe Kubert had the distinction of doing the last few covers, because they kind of brought Showcase back for a very short time. He got to work on the last few of them. Here's one that he did.
Fighting Forces.
From the 50s. That's Fighting Forces number 20 from 57, Joe Kubert and Jack Abel. Story by Robert Kanneker. Panels by Ross Andrew and Mike Esposito. But yeah, you wouldn't think that this is a Joe Kubert cover, would you? But it is. Don't know who did the coloring and the sort of painting treatment on it, but that's Joe Kubert with Jack Abel on the inks. Matt Baker romance cover. Marcus Killigrew posted this one March 4th from St. John Publishing, 1949. Joe Kubert and Jack Sparling on the left panels. Baker, Kubert, and Sparling inks. So top right panel there, Joe Kubert. Kind of different because you got Matt Baker. You got 3 different artists on the same cover. They do different panels. There's with the sort of feathers, but very simple feathers, Elsie, But he did put the indication of feathers in there in the 60s version. Hawkman making his first appearance in Brave and the Bold, because Brave and the Bold was kind of like Showcase there at one time. Some of these war, like this cover here, had a hard-hitting subject matter.
Yeah.
3 seconds, and they're going to mow the kids down, and the old folks and the, prisoners. Helpless. Here's Joe Kubert. Look at that. John Wayne there. Depicted John Wayne there.
I'd like to have that painted piece.
Hollywood Confessions. That's from St. John Publishing, 1949. Sort of a romance cover. Here's the man himself, born in 1926. Look at that studio. I think that's a light box table. Knowing him, he probably made the damn thing,
Had it made, yeah.
Another Eye Vampire. That looks like Jack the Ripper.
He's getting stopped. I got that one.
Yep. Big Treasury edition. The bugs are taking over the place. The bugs shall inherit the earth. Here's a little digest. I've got this. It's a small little digest that came out. Gorilla cover. They only did one of them, as far as I know. In 1965, he did the Green Beret strip. Written by Robin Moore. Joe Kubert artwork. You know, something that I liked about his war books, Elsie, was they would show you the different machine guns, the different tanks, the different planes. They would show you the equipment that was used, and they would talk about the equipment. Robert Kanigher did a lot of that writing, but Joe Kubert had to illustrate what he wanted to show off every month. That was amazing. There you go. Mighty Mouse. Here I come to save the day. May 1926 saw the birth of Norman Mailer, comic book creator who co-developed the first 3D comic books back in 1953 with his brother Leonard Mailer and the legendary Joe Kubert. 1958. Look at the coloring on that. Adler probably colored this.
Probably.
Look at that. There's just something different about the coloring, you know?
Sometimes it's hard to be able to come up with what another person would do. So it doesn't matter if it's AI or whatever, you know. You can try to reproduce a certain artist, but if you've got something by their hand and you know it.
Cover by Joe Kubert, first story by Robert Kanigher, and then Jerry Garnetti. Second story by Bob Hanley. Panels by Mort Drucker. Mort Drucker would go on to do Mad Magazine.
Yeah.
Lee Ellis did the artwork on this, but Joe Kubert did the inking on this Black Cat. Number 2.
That's cool.
White sensitive cover, and look how dirty it gets, you know. Probably hard to find in pristine mint condition. Joe Kubert inking the Flash. As we said earlier, wow. That's Joe Kubert inks over Carmen Infantino. Carmen Infantino was, you know.
Oh, he was in there, buddy.
Son of Sinbad there. There's one of the 3D books and Joe Kubert covers that they did. Son of Sinbad. If
says after Thor.
Look at the panel work from Our Army at War 191. Look at that. Yeah. Very claustrophobic type panels. Yeah. There's that one again.
Squeezing in there at the last. That purple.
Look at that. The old, purple magenta. Yeah. Look at the old style dueling guns.
Mm-hmm.
Star Spangled. I love this one. Look at that one.
Yeah, buddy.
The dead soldiers underwater.
What number is that?
That is number 39.
I've got a whole bunch of those, man.
Love this one. This has got to be one of my favorite Joe Kubert covers of all time. Love this. Where they're saluting. He's falling to his death, and they're saluting each other. Look at that. Early Brave and the Bold here with the Viking Prince. Release the Kraken.
That's cool.
1959. Brave and the Bold, number 24. Another snow scene. Look at that, man. With the Arctic Nazi. I'm copywriting that right now. Look at this, man. That's a Joe Kubert cover. Pre-authority code. And look how he signed it down there in the bottom right-hand corner of that just printing style. Yeah, you've got an example of that.
Mm-hmm. Those are in a big stack over there. I'd have to dig through them, and I didn't want to drag it all out.
I got it. Because if you drag it all out, you got to put it up, right?
Yeah,
People
you
don't
know where's
understand.
that.
Homer's like, show some real comic books. Okay. You gonna put them up for me after I get them out?
He's showing this.
It's a hassle.
I took
Probably
one out.
1967 checker top cover here. What are we showing him, Elsie? Oops. Joe Kubert, the war years. Yeah. Love the Tarzan stuff, says Shadowhawk. Janet from another planet in the house. Signed by Joe Kubert. Very nice. I didn't like war comics. Picked up a few over the years, buying out friends' collections and garage sales. Yeah. That's the way you pick up some of that stuff. High Noon with Shadowhawk Talks tomorrow. A crowd-funded horror comic and a catch-up sardine stream. Featured pickled herring. Oh, my gosh. Oh, yeah, I love that. Half in silhouette. Looks a little weird, though, really. You know, he didn't do the foot in full silhouette, but all the rest of it is. Did you notice that? Just a little bit of light on that one leg. Boy, that's a wide stance, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Remind you. There, he's like a drawing. That's what I liked about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like when just pencil work. I like that. Here we go. Here's one of those examples. Here is Joe Kubert's recreation of a cover from the 50s that was done by Gil Kane. Here's Joe Kubert's version. Another gorilla cover, smoking a pipe, knitting.
I've got that one.
And then here's the 50s original version by Gil Kane.
Huh.
So sort of a reimagining, and then, you know, that story would be reprinted. So they needed a new cover. Yeah. Updated cover, right?
Right.
From Beyond the Unknown, 1971, number 14, allowed them to reprint 1959's The Human Pet of Gorilla Land. And that meant Joe Kubert got to do a new cover for the Broom Infantino Classic. Here's the original Strange Adventures 108 Gil Kane cover. There you go. Run, Rock, run. I can't. If I take my foot off this mine, we'll all be blown sky high.
Which way do I want to go?
Look at this one, man. This is so cool. Him hanging on, wounded, and Rock. Boom, 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 boom. Big old 50 cal or whatever it is, 30 cal.
Yeah.
Trying to keep them off their back, being shot down. Oh, look at this one. Charge! Look at that. Look at the coloring on that, too. Pretty intense. Over here, Easy Company. That way is suicide.
He just didn't do that randomly. Trust me.
Don't sweat about our rear gunners covering. Get that tank. And did you notice in a lot of these, they don't have like standard issue rifles. The Nazis have machine guns in a lot of those covers, you know, and that really wasn't the case, but everybody knows what a machine gun and what a machine gun can do. This I actually bought the Adler too. This is the first appearance of the Unknown Soldier, but the guy on eBay never delivered it. So I didn't get it. I bought the Adler and was out $30. I wasn't out a lot, but I wish I'd gotten the Adler. First appearance. He probably found out what it was. First appearance. Of Joe Kubert. Enemy Ace. Okay, so first appearance of Enemy Ace. Okay.
Right.
Here's some of his work with Andy Kubert. He did the inking on there from Watchmen. These were the books that they came out in the early 2000s with. Night Owl number 3 from 2012. Here's Weird War number 1. You got to do the cover to Weird War number 1. That's kind of worth, I'm told, a couple $100 now. Some interior artwork from that issue.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Nice skull cover. Look at that one. Is that not creepy?
That's why, man, I was getting all those I could find, man. Those are all cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
All those books.
The Grubbers.
You seen number 2?
Yes, you showed it the other day. Here's some of his later work. He was doing like chalk and pastel stuff on toned paper. Didn't you say like Prophecy? The Prophecy books?
Yeah, the Prophecy.
That dealt with Sergeant Rock and Easy Company?
Yeah, that was that wasn't with the zombies. This one was one that was just a war book.
Fighting in the barbed wire there. Look at that.
Wow, that's cool.
That's from Our Army at War number 84. That's that's probably before Sergeant Rock, actually. Check out this partial gray tone cover. Look at this.
That's awesome.
I've got hemorrhoids and I want to get out of here. Look at that. Yeah, that's some of his Tarzan stuff. You know what I would like to have seen? An adaptation of Planet of the Apes drawn by Joe Kubert. That would have been a trip.
Yeah.
Look at this Ragman. First appearance of Ragman. Look at that pose. Look at that.
Look at the design on his costume.
Look at that costume. Yeah, this is more of a Steve Ditko wild character, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
One of the only Jewish. Ragman is a Jewish superhero.
Hey, Rex, if we're going to be on for a few more, I'm going to get me another soda.
Okay.
Is that cool? All right, bro. I'll be right back.
Love the Enemy Ace stuff. Just seeing the old planes. Cleopatra is in trouble. The ape man battles the stone sphinx. Now, this isn't Joe Kubert there. This is John Buscema, which I haven't even got him down in the year yet. We'll have to do some John Buscema. Maybe we'll hold him out. Special Origin issue number 2 there. Gorilla cover. Gorilla covers were quite prominent because sales went up when you had a gorilla cover. I do have planned a Russ Leach Midnight gorilla cover. And I will be working out maybe tonight on a draw stream the roughs to that. Because that's one thing I need to get off and get Russ working on is one of the covers. This is Joe Kubert's Spirit artwork. Well, hell. If it quit messing up on me. And apparently not. Okay. There we go. Joe Kubert. I actually have this issue. Picked it up last year, as a matter of fact, or earlier this year. Picked up some nice spirits. I think for $1 at my dollar at I did at my local comic book shop. Here's Joe Kubert Vigilante, which was often drawn by Keith Pollard. George Perez drew him, but here's a Joe Kubert piece of Vigilante. Very nice. Love these 100-pagers, 60 cents. One of my very first one was a Legion of Superheroes 100-pager for 60 cents. From 1975, I believe. Red gorillas or red apes on this one, the way they colored them. Dinosaur cover and the one panel. Very cool. It'd be an embarrassing moment if they took a swipe at him and got his loincloth and, he's naked, fighting naked. They brought back Tor from the early 50s into the 70s, mid 70s. Brought Tor back. That giant crocodile. DC's new action adventure line was the perfect place for Joe Kubert to revive his 50s caveman Tor in a book that, because it was Kubert, was breathtaking. Unfortunately, most of the titles, Stalker, Beowulf, Cord, Justice Incorporated, which had Kirby artwork, etc., were gone within a year, as was Tor. Yeah. 1960, All-American Men of War, number 79, 10 center. I think we looked at this one earlier. This is from The Prophecy. This is some of his later work. A few years, not at the year he died, but a few years. In fact, few years before he died. Around 2006, he was doing Prophecy. There's Joe Kubert, Andy and Joe Kubert, and Joe Kubert on the inks of his son. Did a few Challengers of the Unknown. I'd forgotten that he did a few Challengers of the Unknown covers. Very effective cover with the Hangman's noose. I'm going to have to do an homage to this or something similar with the noose just right there in the foreground. There's the one that Elsie said was one of his favorite Kubert covers. It is nice. From 1969. Love these, Viking like character, all out war. I did look at these on the stands. I don't think I bought any of them, but I did look at them. They were kind of engaging. There's a Joe Kubert cover. Early Avon. Strange Worlds #1. 1950. Carmen Infantino doing the inks on this, says Dr. Mass Retro Elixir. So Joe Kubert would ink Carmen Infantino, and Carmen Infantino would ink Joe Kubert. You there, Elsie? Whoops, you're in the background. There we go.
Hey, they were just working,
Huh?
They were just working, Carmen Infantino and Joe Kubert.
Yeah, they were just whatever got the job done, huh?
Yeah, whatever got the bills paid, put food on the table.
Here's one I've got in my collection. It's got Kennedy for America, even though Kennedy was dead at that time.
Wow. Wow, look at
And
that.
it's got Gomer for whatever her name was over Israel, and de
Wow.
Gaulle for France, and Mao for China. Atom bomb cover. I've got a couple of
That's
issues of this, a couple of them
I
in my
want to buy
collection. I've
one
got a
from you or
couple.
trade you. That's
Look at
awesome.
that. I've got this particular one too. I think it back here in the stand, actually. Adam Strange cover. I I think Adler might have the original. Adler's family might have the original. Look at this one. Early our fighting forces. We know the amazing Hawkman from DC Comics, Carter Hall, archaeologist, uses the weapons of the past against the threats of the present. At least in the Golden Age. Did you know that he's named after a real Virginia plantation and a brand of pipe tobacco?
Huh. No. Did not
Carter
know.
Hall. Yeah. Carter Hall being Hawkman. There he's, look how he inked the wings in.
Boy, that's nice.
Yeah. That's a nice piece. Here's a cover by Joe Kubert, 1948. 104. I believe this was the last Golden Age issue.
Wow.
And then they picked
Cool.
up the numbering in the Silver Age in 56, maybe 57 with issue 105. So this would have been the last Golden Age issue when Hawkman wore a mask and became more superhero-like and did away with the Hawk mask. Don't know why they went with that look. Didn't even know he had that look for a while. It's nice to get these artist edition. You can see the use of whiteout.
Yeah.
Here's volume 2 of Joe Kubert's Tarzan. There's that particular piece you showed with the skulls and the comic.
Cool.
Look at this, 1959 Joe Kubert.
Wow.
Look at that. That's kind of gray toning. That's a gray tone.
Mm-hmm.
So you know Jack
That's a
Adler
great
worked
tone.
on that with him. Look at that hand. Look at the fingers. That's nice. Yeah, I mean for a long time, 1953 here, the tour. For a long time, you know, war books were subdued, but you know, they've done an article in Overstreet Price Update or Price Guide for like, I don't know, 15 years now or so. And it's really helped increase the price of some of these great war comics. (1968) Hawkman number. This is unused cover.
Wow.
By Joe Kubert. This cover was unused. Actually, it looks better than what was actually released. So, and this is the painted piece. If you look at it carefully, this would have been painted by probably Jack Adler.
See that red up there in that Superman?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that's the red piece. So when I got to this piece, the Hawkman 27, I wanted to look and let me do a search. Let me do a search on eBay real quick for the book, and we'll see what they wound up with. The original, what did I say, 27? I assume it was a Joe Kubert cover. 1964. So LZ, here is the unused cover. Take a good look at that, especially like the foreground there, you know. This is the painted piece. This is the piece that they did not use. And then here's what they used.
I don't know why they didn't use that other one.
Yeah, to me, it's more dramatic.
A lot more.
You know, you got his wings there. You got kind of neat magenta shadow there on the snow.
Right. Yeah, it's not bad.
The gremlins are kind of all over him. That's kind of why that's like they got little gas mask on.
Alien.
But that's what it came out with. But this was the original.
That would have been cooler.
I think so too. You know, with the dark black background and just the white there, and it is more dramatic. Yeah, I like this a lot better. This is a trip. Look at this one.
Oh, I got that one.
That's nice. I'm going to have to do an homage cover to that one. Maybe a Cortex.
Wow.
Maybe a Cortex story. Where did Cortex's brain come from? Number 68 here. Early Joe Kubert from the 50s.
That looks like one I've got. Lichtenstein swipes.
All-Star Annual. So, attacking Solomon Grundy. Look, he even got Plastic Man in there. All-Star Squadron here. Look, he kind of went back to the old styling on the wings of Hawkman.
Yeah, he did.
Per Degaton in the red there in the foreground.
That's
you got
the way he did those wings.
You got a Hawkman, and behind Solomon Grundy, you got Johnny Quick. You got Liberty Bell there, the female character. You got Robot Man. You got the Atom in between Grundy's leg and Plastic Man, Dr. Midnight, per Degaton, like I said. Love the All-Star Squadron. That's where I learned a lot. Look at this, 1953. This is probably a magazine. Joe Kubert cover.
Cool.
Oh, you probably got this one, huh?
Yes, I do. Very nice.
I don't have the original, but I have a reprint of this, an 80-page reprint.
That's not number 7, is it?
It is. I don't see it on the cover, and I don't know.
Number 7 was number the 80-page giant. Number 7 is that one. Similar to that, I've got it. That's the one that's really rare. I got that one too. A bunch of them.
I'm going to say this is probably 50s or late 40s. I don't really know, but that's Joe Kubert cover. Sign there, down there at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of atmosphere. Nightmare.
Wow.
Look at this one.
Mm.
Losers.
Got a few of those. Wow, that's cool.
Window War. I'll blow your head off. 1968. This is a great story. Hangman's Mask. There's the man right there. He was born in Poland. 1926. His family coming to America when he was an infant. Generations of fans would know war through his art's lens. It's inconceivable to imagine DC without him. Though he died in 2012, Joe influences his still through the Kubert School.
No doubt.
Sugar and Spike. Look, he did Sugar and Spike. He did so many characters at some point. Did the Blackhawks. So many characters. Martian Manhunter.
Sugar and Spike was one of Jack Adler's favorite titles.
The Pit of Doom. The Return of Tarzan. The Pit of Doom.
A lot of those I got with Mark Jeweler variants. A whole bunch of them.
1976. Of course, this is later reissue. Reprints from the 76 with new Joe Kubert covers for the direct market. He did the artwork in Marvel Handbook for Killer Strike. How about that?
That's cool.
Killer Strike's a pretty cool character. Wow, we're going late tonight, but you know what? That's all right. Talking some Joe Kubert. You know, he always did these superhero catalogs. I used to have this.
Mm-hmm.
I used to order out of these things. I've tried to go back and collect some of them off eBay just for the nostalgia. You can pick them up pretty cheap. 1976. Here's Patrick Thomas Parnell's from Riot Press, his diploma that he got from Joe Kubert School of Cartooning and Graphic Art in Dover, New Jersey. I've still got some art packets, I think, from him. I have this Viking Prince here. I always thought that this giant sea monster was pretty cool, just in white and black. Yeah, really cool. Stands out. There's a Shadow cover he did. Only the Shadow knows. Here's Jack Kirby's Etrigan, the Demon, done by Joe Kubert.
That transformation.
Another later issue of the Atom, which kind of went through a name change. Atom and Hawkman. Hawkman came in at the end, and most of them were Joe Kubert, if not all of them were Joe Kubert covers. He did a good stint on that. 1973 with Denny O'Neil, he did Justice Incorporated, the Avenger.
Yeah, I got some of those. Yeah.
Kind of a short-lived character.
Mm-hmm.
But very nice. I mean, you know.
It's pretty cool.
Cool artwork. Look at that.
You also know he did some of the preventings mainly monthly for the military, I believe.
1969 Nephilim type Nazis. Look at that. Big giant frozen Nazis.
Whoa. Hellcat.
That's nice. That's a nice one there. Yeah. Featuring Lieutenant Hellcats, an uber violent World War II fighting force led by Benjamin Hunter. They lasted 3 years in the title. 1951, Eerie Tales of Fantasy and Suspense #3 from Avon Comics. Art by the legendary Wally Wood. Some interiors by Wood and Joe Kubert. So Joe Kubert had some artwork in Eerie. Spelled a little different because Eerie magazine had 2 R's in it, didn't it? The magazine later that would come out later.
You're asking me questions, I'd have to lie.
Okay, well, how do you normally spell Eerie?
Like that.
Okay, like this. Well, maybe I'm mistaken. Anyway,
hold it. Maybe 1 E and 2 R's.
This book here includes 3 Joe Kubert stories in it. That's a nice book from Avon.
Boy,
yeah, isn't that nice? 1952, Jesse James #6. I'm actually related to Jesse and Frank James. My sister tells me.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the Joe Kubert School of Cartooning and Graphics Art. Look at that.
Yeah.
So many alumni like Patrick Parnell, Andy Kubert, uh, Graham Nolan went to school there. There's Superman, 2008, and Batman. Did you like his superhero stuff? I think you did, didn't you?
Sure, man. I liked all the stuff he was doing. I could tell it when he wasn't doing a war book. I could tell it was him. You know.
Look at this from 1993. Look at that. Look at that. He did some wonderful stuff on toned paper. That is wonderful with the highlights and just the posture. And look how he did the one wing. He just kind of indicated with the hatching the top of the wing.
Yeah. Right.
And again, the foot is just indicated. He really didn't do much with feet. No. He said people know what a foot looks like. He really didn't put a lot of detail in the feet. From 1947, All-Stars Comics number 35. Early Joe Kubert, Hawkman. I'm sure like Sheldon Maldoff and other artists and Carmen Infantino had an influence on his artwork at that time, Elsie.
Yeah, if he was working, like with those guys doing Sugar and Spike and, Stanley's Monster and things like that.
I think this particular one, I might be wrong, but I believe this is the 4th appearance of Enemy Ace. I think I have that one in my collection.
Hey, bro, I found a couple of those prevented maintenance monthly that Joe did the covers for.
Oh, okay. I have this flash special here. 80-page
after you get done, keep going, just letting you know. That's a good one. Boy, I'd like to have that.
GI War titles number 4. This face here, I see a lot of Mike Zeck in it. Mike Zeck kind of does similar faces like Joe Kubert. I bet you Joe Kubert is an influence.
Yeah.
On
learn from.
Yeah.
Expressions and stuff.
Look at this Wolverine he did.
Wow, that's
Weapon
awesome.
X. Of course, what I loved his work on, and a wonderful title, All-Star Squadron.
Oh, yeah.
Loved All-Star Squadron. That's where I learned a lot of the history of the DC universe. And this particular copy, if you look up there on the left, it's signed in 97 by Joe Kubert. It's actually signed
and
copy.
Roy Thomas.
Oh, they even got Roy Thomas and Jerry Ordway to sign it. Wow. Very nice. Look at that. Tour number 2. Look at that.
That's great.
That's kind of a different take on a saber-tooth tiger, huh?
Yeah, I'd say so. Hey, Rex. Now, if you want to run this thing all night, we can. I'll just go get Susie some supper. Be right back. We'll roll this baby as long as you want to.
Well, I don't know if I want to run it all night long, but till I run out of images here. You want to go ahead and show your stuff before you do that?
Yeah, okay.
It's an extra long Preventive maintenance monthly. Yeah, Tank actually was featured in at one or two of those when he was in the military. Why is Rick yelling at
That's
us?
one.
He's no
This
longer
one's
paying attention
hilarious.
to the chat. Where are the actual
This one's
comics, Jen?
hilarious.
Show us the comics you got at Jokey. Hey, Timothy Olsen.
Is that what he wants to see? Actual comics?
Yeah, I mean, but you know, is he watching now? Don't know.
No. Oh, well, Shaddock, I'll pull some old Tarzans out for you.
Was that it? You need to go get Susie
Seriously, though,
something to eat?
how long would you want?
I don't
Yeah, I
know,
didn't
but
know,
you can
how
come
long
back.
you
You can
want to
check
go.
if I'm still going. You know,
All right.
yeah,
Cool.
I'll be going a minute here.
I mean,
I'm sure.
If you just want me to sign off, and then I'll just come back on the link when I get back.
It's whatever
If
you.
you're
Well, I mean, I may not be looking at. Why don't you just put your icon or leave it running, or I don't know.
okay, you can look at that.
Are you seeing this
Silver
up on
Surfer.
screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to know.
I
All
may
right.
have a bunch of those, man. I can pull those
Look at
out.
that.
Oh man, that's
Look at that double page. Man.
Sweet.
That has some gravitas to it. You know, that's got some weight to it.
Well, then, all right, man. I'm just going to run down and get it, and I'll be back.
Oh, you're going to go get her something to eat. Now, I know you had this here. It wasn't,
yes,
I've got an acetate of
I've
that, or did
that.
have. Yeah.
I have it. I bought it.
What, an Adler of that? Do you have this
I
Adler?
bought your acetate.
Oh, you bought my acetate. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Because it was definitely
this is look at this one. This is Joe Kubert from 1947.
1947.
Flash Comics number 88. This is 1947 as well, number 83. There's some good Golden Age books in here. Tarzan 222. Nice double page spread. Did you read his Tarzan stuff? I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, man. I was watching Tarzan when I was a kid on Johnny Weissmuller, and when they started coming out with the comics, oh my goodness. I probably got a big stack of them right here.
This is John Byrne, Hawkman, but the inker said he tried to ink it like Joe Kubert.
Huh.
Andy Smith. That was Andy Smith's inking over to Joe Kubert. Western Art by Joe Kubert. Check that out. Looks like custard down there.
Western Art.
Early artwork by Joe Kubert. I'd say 40s or 50s. He almost looks like Alex Toth with some of the stuff back then. What you got there, Elsie?
Oh, I was looking
what you got, Willis?
I was looking for them Tarzans to show because somebody said they like Tarzan, and I had to find them.
Oh, you had to find them. Okay. No problemo. Showcase number 57 with Enemy Ace. Look at that. It's like you're in the cockpit with him.
Cockpit.
Enemy Ace was kind of unique, you know, looking at the war from the enemy side of things, you know?
Yeah.
There's one of the tone paper pieces he did for Viking Prince. Viking Prince was one of the first showcase books even before Flash came in showcase, I believe. Star Spangled War stories, yeah.
Oh,
I think we looked at these. I remember this when he was doing some Action Comics covers. I've got some of these. This was around, I want to say, 2006. An annual.
2006.
That's an Adler, isn't it? Right there. I think it is.
I believe it is. If it was one that I could have gotten, I would have.
There's Joe Kubert when he was younger. Look at that striped Popeye like Bluto shirt he's wearing. Wow. Look at that hair.
Wild and crazy.
Wild and crazy days. I've got this one. I've got Marvel Age 131. There they are at the Kubert School.
Cool.
Him and his sons with an example of all their work that they were doing at the time. Kubert's interview with a dynasty.
That'd be a good one to have.
December 1993. Yeah.
Ooh.
There's Joe Kubert.
What number is that?
Our fighting forces number, can't make it out. Couple digits, but I don't know what they are. Late 50s, I would say. You might have this one.
Yeah, I think
seems like that this might be a Kubert. I mean, this might be an Adler as well that I've seen. Look at this one where they're almost burning alive. Nice coloring. 1948 Joe Kubert, Green Lantern cover.
Wow. Number 35?
Number 35, yeah. Look at that logo. Great logo. Green Lantern logo. Joe Kubert cover. Oh, and yeah, you gave me this one. The Bible.
Yeah.
Treasure edition.
Ooh, yeah. I got some of those big comic books.
There's the Easy Company.
I'd like to have that page.
Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? 1947 Joe Kubert Flash cover. Going up against the Thorn. She would later make an reappearance in the late 70s in All-Star Comics. Little page layout. Batman there. Coming up out of the water, the bubbling water, and onto the ship. Real stealthy.
Yeah, that tore.
That's always cool when you use a mirror as a device to show you what's off screen.
My Tor 3D is from 1953.
Look at that.
Nice.
Oh, I love this piece. Look at that with the alligators.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. About to get her leg.
I know, right?
Oh, my.
Yeah, oh, my. Oh, yeah.
I've got that.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, I've got that.
The ancient aircraft is the last defense left on Earth. Destroy it. The Wooden World War.
Wow.
Oh, this is a great piece. Look at that.
Look at
The
that
artist
book
himself.
I have. Remember the book?
That wonderful.
That's the cover of the book that I got right here.
Look at that. Look at the logo worked into the artwork as a panel.
Yeah.
Look at those claws there. Look at the whiteout. You get to see the whiteout that looks like paint on there.
Red ink.
Raptor this.
Mercy.
This is by Bill Sienkiewicz. Portrait of Joe. You know, I mean, he did something no one else did. You know, he started a school, you know, an accredited school.
Look, he was persistent. When did he start? My goodness.
This is his last Hawkman story from 2009.
And he was doing full covers in the 1940s.
Look, he even drew himself in up top there.
Yeah.
And narrated.
Isn't that cool?
That's cool. I like the coloring too, the subdued palette on this. And really fine work, you know.
It's like he
was age 83 when he drew this. And believe it or not, this is Joe Kubert. That's Joe Kubert, Spider-Man, and Doc Ock. And a Human Torch.
Like
kind of based on the movie version of Doc Ock. With his son, Adam Kubert, on the inks. Look at this linking, connecting cover of Conan Cole and Solomon Kane. All one scene.
That's cool.
That's neat. Yeah. Dark Horse Comics.
We need to get those.
Yeah. And he also did Stan Lee's Batman. Sort of the reimagining series.
Man Bat.
Well, no, this is supposed to be his Batman. That's actually supposed to be Man. I know it looks a lot like Man Bat, but it's, you know, what if, sort of just imagine if Stan Lee did Batman. And this is kind of like the Bat, actually, the movie The Bat. Love that pencil work. I love the uninked stuff. I really do. I like the gray pen, the grease pencil stuff.
Well, partner.
Well, that's all for me. That's all I got, man. I ran through all my stuff. It took me a while, but
talk about Joe Kubert for all day.
Yeah, he probably needs another, you know, we'll cover him again next year, you know. I mean, you know, if anybody deserves any, I mean, look how many graduates, you know, Dionysus, who did my art book front and back cover, he went to Joe Kubert School for a year. Right. Patrick Parnell, Andy Smith, Graham Nolan, so many different graduates. Or if they didn't graduate, Keith Gleason, that's going to letter my book, most of my book. He went to the Joe Kubert School. Influenced a lot of artists.
Still is.
Yeah.
Probably through his son.
So I think we lost all our viewers, but it doesn't matter, Elsie. Stay just for a second. Let's say the magic words and get out of here so that you can go get Susie something to eat.
Collecting.
And I hope you enjoyed the Joe Kubert Feature Friday. There's no other artist like him. He's a pioneer
never
and a
either.
trailblazer. Very prolific. Yeah. One of the most prolific. I mean, he had like from 40s to 2012, the year of his death. He had, what is that? 60 years or more career in comics. I mean, he started when he was like in his teens.
Yeah.
Very early.
Well,
he come up through the ranks.
People.
He saw it all. Peace. And